Welcome to the Tragedy of Cinema's Universal Monster Series from the Dark Tomb of Art Toast.
If anyone tries to avoid questioning by running away, you ought to shoot.
Oh, how dreadful.
What is it, Carol?
A small boy was killed last night in the park near Denham Lane. It seems that the body of the child was horribly mangled.
Carol, please! We can't be married, Barry. Ever.
I think I understand. You're not going to let me in for the curse of the Allenbys and all that sort of thing.
What happened, sir? She's done me in.
Alright guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema, the Universal Monster Series. I'm your host Jimbo, and today I'm joined once again by my father, Mr.
Art Toast.
Art Toast. We are live. Well, not by the time you hear this, we won't be live, but we are in the dark tomb of Art Toast at his house recording tonight. We actually started probably an hour ago, but we are just now getting to actually hitting the record for the official start of this.
I can't get him to quit laughing.
If you had to look at you two, you would have to stop laughing either.
I'm on my best behavior.
So we were tossing around some movies to do, maybe some lesser-known Universal Monster movies, since we've covered a lot of the main monsters in this series. So we decided on this doozy, the She-Wolf of London. Now, before we get started on this movie, Dad.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm not Kyle.
Yes, you're not. Do you think that this movie, without giving anything away yet, do you think that this movie deserves to be considered one of the Universal Monster movies?
No.
Without giving anything away yet.
No. And I'll explain later.
Okay. I don't think so either. I think they just try to play off the name, and we'll go from there. But you'll find out why here shortly. So it's not a very long movie. It's only about, 61 minutes, I think. About an hour.
And we're just an hour trying to get started.
Yeah, we've already watched the movie twice just sitting here. So, Dad, go ahead and take it away. The She-Wolf of London. Almost came out the year you were born, 1946. Oh, wait, 10 years later.
10 years later. She-Wolf of London. Release date, May 17th, 1946. The synopsis of this is a young heiress finds evidence suggesting that at night she acts under the influence of a family curse and has began committing ghastly murders in a nearby park.
Ghastly.
What did I say?
Ghastly. Yeah, this has... Man, we'll get there. I can't start right now. We'll never get through this.
Okay.
I'll save it for my...
You just sit back for a minute.
We could not find any budget or how much it made, so it wasn't readily available to us. So, Dad, why don't you go ahead and take away the cast real quick?
All right, the cast is Don Porter. Was played by Barry Linfield. He was also... Who?
No, Barry Linfield was played by Tom Porter.
Right, I said it backwards. He also was in the 1947 movie Night Monster.
Did you ever see it?
Not that I know of. It don't
Ring a bell?
ring no bell. June Lockhart played Phyllis Ellenby. She was in the 1965 series of Lost in Space. If you go back a little bit, she played on Lassie, the old Lassie show, TV series.
Was she the mom?
She was the mom. She was the mom in Lost in Space, too. She was a mother actor.
Do you put her up there with Mrs. Cleaver as one of the best moms of all time?
No. I don't recall June Lockhart wearing pearls around the house. Sarah Haddon played Martha Winthrop. She was in a 1940 movie, The Shop Around the Corner. And Jan Wiley played Carol Winthrop. She played in A Fig Leaf for Eve in 1944. Lloyd Corrigan played Detective Latham. He was in a 1963 movie. I remember seeing this a long, long time ago. It's a mad, 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 mad world. It's got a lot of stars in it.
And I think it was remade, too.
Have you ever seen that?
No, not the original.
Dennis Hoey played Inspector Pierce. He was in 1946, Terror by Night. Martin Koslick played Dwight Servin. He was in 1966, Agent for HARM, or Harm. I never heard of that. Martin Koslick played Dwight Servin. That's the one I just did. Ellie Malin played Hannah, and she was in 1959, The Little Princess.
Shirley Temple.
Shirley
right?
Temple. Frederick Warlock played Constable Ernie Hobbs. He was in 1961, 101 Dalmatians.
The cartoon?
The cartoon.
Are you sure?
Yep. Look it up. James Finlayson played Constable Hobbs, and he was in the 1937 movie Way Out West. And then we got a bunch of uncredited ones here. Olaf Huyton, Constable Alfred, Warren Jackson. He was just a constable. Warren H. O'Brien, he was a constable. Britt Sullivan, constable. David Thursby, Constable Hubert. And then Joan Wells as Phyllis as a child. And these are all uncredited.
All right. So moving on, it did win one award. Unfortunately, it wasn't nothing from back then. It was actually just probably got lumped into the Saturn collection for the best DVD Blu-ray collection in 2017 as part of the Wolfman Complete Legacy Collection. And that was given out by the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films in the USA in 2017. A little bit of the technical details of this movie. Its runtime, like I said, was only about 61 minutes, so it's a quick watch. Not that you would probably ever care to watch it again after watching it once. Sound mix, mono was Western Electric Recording. Color info, it's of course a black and white movie. The aspect ratio was 1:37:1. Negative format was 35 millimeter. The process is spherical. And the printed format, of course, is 35 millimeter. So I should make my dad do all these international release details and giving the names of all the titles of this movie in their respective languages. But I won't put him through that because we would have the Mexico, Sweden, Portugal, Finland, and Germany, like Die Wurfen von London, stuff like that. So we won't put him through that, at least on this one. There was actually only one filming location. It was actually at the Universal Studios, the 100 Universal City Plaza in Universal City, California, USA. And the filming started December 10, 1945. So, Art, let's go ahead and start talking about this movie. We'll start at the beginning.
Well, right off the bat, before you even get into the movie, you have to do some reading.
And what did it say?
It tells about the...
Should I go back so you can read it?
tells about the Allenby curse, which we've been discussing that a little bit on...
Off the air?
Mm-hmm, off the air. What actually the Allenby curse was.
So the Allenby curse, if we can, we'll pull up what this says at the beginning of the movie, so that way we don't butcher it. But it's going to start off in Scotland Yard. So London at the turn of the century, the legend of the Allenby curse was almost forgotten until I don't remember it at all. So that's how. But they're going to start off in Scotland Yard, and this guy did a great job. I forget his name. It's one of the inspectors, isn't it?
Yes.
Latham. I think his name's Latham. So he's asking him about, hey, the carriage is waiting for you. And he's like, well, what? He's like, and this Latham, he believes in the Allenby curse. He believes that there is a werewolf running amongst in the park. I forgot what they call it in this movie. So this guy doesn't really believe in this nonsense. He's like, I guess, is this the main inspector guy?
Yes.
And he's like, you can't tell me you believe in all this, nonsense. He's like, I'm telling you. So they think that a dog attacked him, but they also think that they don't think it was just any dog because he was badly slashed. So right off the gate of this movie, we have a murder. And you're led to believe that, here we go again with a werewolf attacking somebody. And they're trying to, and Latham thinks, hey, we got another problem on our hands. The Allenby curse and all that. So they're on their way to the scene of the crime, if you will. But the next thing you see just blows my mind because you see June Lockhart, Phyllis, with her beau,
Barry.
And they go on. They're eventually going to get married, and they decide that they're going to have a horse race. And whoever wins this horse race in this park gets to choose when they get married. Barry wants to get married like next week, and Phyllis is like, well, you mean next year?
Next year.
You want to proceed and tell them what happens?
He wins the race, but...
And she's like, I let you win.
I let you win because she's wanting to get married. And then they hear the detectives are coming to the scene of the crime, and they're walking through all these woods and stuff. And they overhear them talking about a werewolf attack. And he said, don't start that there. And they overhear this, which it upsets Phyllis in this movie, and she's shaken by it. And so they proceed to leave, and they go back to their house. When they get there, they got a German Shepherd dog there, and she
two of them,
and whenever she comes close to them, they violently approach her and barking and growling and all these things. But what's her name? The housemaid,
Hannah,
is getting ready to go to the store, And
Carol,
she gives her a note. She's got
a secret lover herself.
Yeah.
Dwight, I believe is his name.
To deliver it to the town. And her mother, Martha, sees her giving her that letter, and she goes down there when she's leaving and tells her to hand her the note over. And she sees it. So she goes and hollers back at Carol about, you're seeing this guy that he's not good for you.
He doesn't have no money.
Yeah, he ain't got no money. And you'll find out they don't really have no money either.
Yeah, so I guess we'll talk about that here right now. Eventually, you'll find out that what's the mom, Martha, actually married into money, if you will. But it wasn't the man she loved. Is that right? Or was it she married and he left, or he died and then she married into the money? Either way, she doesn't really have money. Neither does Carol, her daughter. But all the money was left to Phyllis, and she is the rightful heir. But Phyllis does not know this. So, but they live in this nice mansion. They have Hannah, the maid. And Martha just seems really uptight the whole movie. She's not fun to be around. She's not fun to watch on the screen either. She's just one of the people that I was like, eh. So I think she's going to have the talk with her. We got it on in the background. She's going to have the talk with her. She's like, you may think you're in love, but you don't know love. But she's like, you ever thought what happens to us? She's like, no, of course you haven't. So she said, well, you ever think what will happen? She said, well, I think things will go on the same, and that, I'll miss her. And she's like, Carol, it's not that simple. There's a lot more going on that you need to know about. So she's getting ready to go into the past with her right here. So she's getting ready to explain to her what happened a long time ago. And the reason that she hasn't told her all this is that she's only wanted her happiness. Give me a break. So the first thing she tells her is that, guess what? You're not Phyllis's cousin, and that you're actually not related to her in any single way. And Carol's like, what? I don't understand. You're her aunt. And she's like, no, I'm not related either. So she has been putting on this facade. So she's like, I'm the only woman who might have married Allenby. She's like, Phyllis's father? And she's like, yeah. But we come to find out that there's a note that he sent her the day before that she married Carol's father, and she tells Carol to read it. So Carol reads this note and says, my own darling, I know that nothing I can say will change your mind. I wish you every happiness, even though my heart tells me I shall never quite get over loving you, Reggie. So basically, he didn't marry her. He married the other one. He married Phyllis's mother, and 1 year later, Martha married her father, which was a penniless man, but he was a young man. But when he died, he left her with Carol and no money, so she had to fend for herself. And so that's how she became the housekeeper of the Allenby's London house. So she was actually the housekeeper. She was basically the maid, which is the house they're in right now. And she's like, this house isn't ours. No, guess what? It only belongs to the Allenby estate, which the sole survivor of the Allenby estate is Phyllis. So, once again, the dogs are barking. Here comes Phyllis again. And these German Shepherds, she's like, just go away, leave me alone. But they're setting it up to make you think that Phyllis is the she-wolf and that these dogs can smell that on her, and that's why they are barking at her because she's on their property.
You mean she's not the she-wolf?
Well,
we'll see.
Well, I wish I didn't have to see, but... So, as we move along in this, basically, Phyllis is having problems sleeping. She's spooked by what she overheard in the
horseback thing.
Thank you, right at the beginning. And she decides to hang this lantern out the window on a tree, which, first thing... It's a fire on a tree. Okay, we're not. There's so many things wrong with this movie, but
it's supposed to keep the evil spirits away and all this.
And if she really thinks that she's part of this curse because she has the Allenby name, then she's going to do everything she can because she's bound and determined that she is the one that killed that man earlier. So here we go again. Martha's like, here, sit down. I'll go get you something to drink, which becomes
you'll be noticing she drinks a lot.
Yeah. Martha always quick to offer a drink. So she's like, look, I'll go get you some warm milk or something. And basically she tells her to leave the light out there. And Martha, of course, goes downstairs. And I will give credit to Hannah, the housemaid or whatever. She did a pretty good job. But here we see Carol dressed up. She's getting ready to try to sneak out to go see Dwight once again. But lo and behold, she doesn't know that her mother is downstairs making a drink for Phyllis. So she's like, where do you think you're going? Oh, you're sneaking off to see that Dwight again, aren't you? Get back to your room, And
She should have said, no, I'm the she-wolf. I'm going out to kill somebody.
But I don't think at this point there's only been that one murder. So, so just... Carol, you can't catch a break. You got to be smarter than that. I mean, it's literally right when she went down there. But you got old Hannah eavesdropping once again on all these little conversations going on. But, I mean...
She's probably the best in the movie.
Who, Hannah?
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't have many lines. So she takes that thing up there, and then you hear somebody screaming. And you see this lady that you presume is a lady, dressed in like her, I guess, nightgown, coming back through the gates after the constables have went running after to see this, and one of the German shepherds jumps over the fence and is following her back into the house. So the next morning when Phyllis wakes up...
but now, though, you may think at that point, is it Phyllis? Or is it not Phyllis? Is it Carol or is it Martha? Because she may have been gone out to go see her boyfriend.
Or is it Phyllis? Because Phyllis wakes up, she has blood on her hands, she has dirt on her shoes.
Dew on her robe.
Yeah, and her robe is wet. So now she is freaking out. And this is something that's crazy because she's supposed to be meeting... Barry. She's supposed to be meeting him again, and this single episode right here, pretty much for the rest of the movie, she wants to stay bedridden the entire time. Like I just can't see.
She can't see Barry, can't marry Barry, and tell him
she can't explain what's going on. So Martha comes in once again. She's like, "Look, I know it was me. I killed. She doesn't know there's been another murder yet. She's like, I did. I killed that man the other night." And she's like, "No." So they go downstairs and they're getting ready to have breakfast. And is it Hannah or is it Carol that has the newspaper? It's like, "Oh, look, there's been another murder." And this is where Phyllis just loses it and just sobs and goes back up to her room. So Phyllis doesn't know what's going on, so yeah. It was a small boy this time they killed, and they're Denham Lane in the park. So they was torn to pieces by some kind of wild animal.
Yeah, and Carol's reading the paper right. That too.
And I will that. Let me write that question down too. So. I would say something, but we might get canceled if I say something right here. So I'm ready to say it. So once again, you see Hannah has a look of worried look on her face. And here comes old Barry. Once again, Barry's coming in. This is where she finds out, look, she can't go with you. She's feeling ill. And basically, Carol tells her she's ill, that she's not going to have a visitor. And you see Martha and Phyllis is back up in Phyllis' room once again. We're pouring a drink.
Let's give her something to drink.
Poor Phyllis, give her something else to help you calm. This will help you go to sleep and calm your nerves. Which is something I picked up right away when I was watching this movie. I was like, that's all this lady does is make drinks for us. And it's usually like warm milk to help her sleep. And you'll find that out. And if you see Phyllis here, she's just laying on. She doesn't look like she wants to go anywhere. Maybe she can't go anywhere, which we'll find out later in the movie what's going on there. So
now let me ask you this question. How do you know... what she's giving her to drink that's what's affecting her to turn her into a werewolf?
Well, because I've seen the rest of the movie.
Well,
we'll get there.
but you don't at this point.
So basically, what is it? A couple days have passed, and
Barry
decides to come, or was it just one day? It's we'll just say the next day for right now. So, 2 days. It's been 2 days, he says. And he's like, he sees Hannah hanging laundry, and he's like, hey, how's Phyllis doing? She says, she's doing much better today. He's like, well, do you mind if I cut through here to go see her? She said, I didn't see nothing, but if you get caught, I'm not telling them how you got through here.
And she's sitting out in the garden.
Yep.
And here he comes. So she said, well, how do you get in here? He said he cut through the garden. He said, I just have to talk to you. And he said, I've been trying to see you for 2 days. And it's
they're supposed to get married the next Wednesday. Yeah.
There ain't no way to treat her. We're going to get married in a week. And she just said that she's just been upset. She can't talk to him.
Can't marry him ever.
Can't marry him. So she goes running into the house. And here comes Martha. She's going to intercede here.
Have you? Here's something else. Did you ever notice like Phyllis is always wearing white and the mom's always wearing like black, the dark clothing? Well, I assume it's black. It's black and white movie, but very interesting.
It could be red.
Could be, but it's dark.
Well, it's the same principle probably with that of in old westerns, the white hat and black hat thing.
Yeah. So Barry's really concerned. He's like, I don't know what's come over her. Just like 2 days ago, she wanted to marry me, and she couldn't wait. She let me win this race. And Martha's like, well, it's just a case of nerves, Give her a few days. She'll be a totally different person. And she's like, well, you better go now. Let her rest. So here we are once again. Barry's leaving once again. And I believe this is where he runs into Carol. And he says, Carol, he's like, I don't know what's going on with Phyllis. I said, she won't talk to me. And he's like, do you mind going for a ride so we can talk? And she's like, sure. So she gets in the carriage, and if you, up in the window, you see old Phyllis looking out. So now she's just distraught. Now Carol's moving in on my man.
Well, she already told him, I can't marry you. I don't want to see you.
So he's like, oh, well, he moved on pretty quick. I'll just go with the other one. So Barry's he's just really concerned for Phyllis. He wants to find out what's going on. Is there anything I can do? Phyllis, of course, crushed, heartbroken, such over dramatic. Once again, we have dogs barking, and I believe once again, this is where what's his name? Is it Latham?
Latham.
Is that Latham? Or is it the head inspector? Where he
that's no, that's the other guy.
No, that's Latham. Yeah, that's the chubby one. Oh, somebody's alarm was going on. So yeah, he's like, look, I'm with Scotland Yard. I'm with the Criminal Investigation Bureau, and he comes in to see Hannah, and this is where he tells him, look, he's like, I want you to give me the information. And he's like, how many people live in this house? And she's like, well, there's Mrs. Winthrop, or there's 4. Mrs. Winthrop, her daughter, her niece, and me. And he's like, what? There's no man in the house? He's like, no man. He's like, but you have dogs? He's like, yeah, we got 2 dogs. And Anna's like, oh, they're vicious beasts. Every night they keep me awake and they're barking. He's like, be a great favor if you just took them away from me so I wouldn't have to see them anymore. Here comes Martha right up here.
She's always in the right spot.
Always. And I could just imagine what Hannah's feeling right now. And she's like, that's it, Hannah. That'll be all. So Martha's a step ahead of the game here. She's like, hey, I'm sure you hear about the dogs, about what's happening in the park. And he's like, no, we didn't have that. We just thought that you might want to keep them for your protection, that you can't blame them with no men about the house, that they got dogs. So she's like, they're locked in the garden most of the time, especially at night. And he's like, hey, have you seen any suspicious characters about the place? And she's like, no, I haven't. But tell me, have the police have a clue as to who murdered the people in the parking lot? He's like, not exactly the clues you might say, but they've narrowed it down to where they think they are coming from. That it's coming, the animal is somebody from this neighborhood or person. And she's like, a person? And he's like, yeah. She's like, my own theory, Mrs. Winthrop, is that it's a where? And then he stops short that a madman or woman is responsible, and that's why he's checking all the houses in the neighborhood. Which I think this scene right here is very telling because I think Martha's fishing for information. She wants to know what they know, which is very common. And if you listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, a lot of the criminals want to know and check up on the news to see if they're famous, like the BTK killer and stuff like that. You know, they just can't stay out of the spotlight long enough. They want to know what the police knows. So once again, here's old Phyllis, and she's got to get her robe on, and she going over to the window, and is this where she decides that she's going to stay up all night? She tells her to bring her some coffee, that she can't bear to hurt anybody else, that she's going to stay up all night. She's lighting up all the she puts the lantern out there again, or no, she thinks about it and then she doesn't do it, but she lights the lights in the house or in her room. She goes and she looks in this full-length mirror, and she starts putting her hands to her face. And so, if you're watching, you may think, is she going to transform into something? Yeah, but she's just looking and make sure. But she's scared. Here. She doesn't know what's going on. She's scared because she thinks she is the werewolf. Oh, you mean she's not? Boom, boom, boom. We'll find out. So there's a knock on the door, and yes, your favorite and mine. Ta-da! Just kidding. It's Carol. She comes in and she says, "Hey, look, you know, me and Barry went for a carriage ride today, and all he wanted to do was talk about you." So she's stuffing like cotton into her ears so she doesn't have to hear the dogs barking outside. And she said, "Look, you know, don't just shut yourself off from everybody in the whole world." She's like, you know, you can tell me anything, right? You know, I got broad shoulders, but see, this is where I have a problem with Carol too, because your mother just told you the biggest secret in this whole household, and you don't want to share any information either. So I fault you, Carol, too, because you're just as dumb as the rest of the people in the house. So she doesn't want to end up telling her that she thinks she's responsible for killing everybody. She can't tell her. Of course, she says that Barry's got broad shoulders, too. Of course, she's been out on a carriage ride with him. Right. But Carol's like, look, you know, it's bad to keep things from you, and there's some things I can't tell you, and I'd rather just be left alone. And she's like, forget I said anything. I won't ever mention it again. But she's being pretty nasty. And then she asks for forgiveness, of course. And she's like, look, there's nothing to forgive. We're still happy. But if you ever want to talk, hey, I'm your girl. We'll talk. So, Barry has a nice set of shoulders, too. Carol just, you know, to me, that was kind of a jab at her, you know. But yeah, Carol's leaving. And here comes, once again, with... looks like afternoon tea or coffee or whatever. Martha comes just in time, and then she's like, what did Carol want? Right away. It's a bedtime drink. Yeah. But she tells her she lies. She says she just, you know, dropped in to say goodnight. Said, you know, I saw him riding with Barry, or saw her riding with Barry. And she's like, yeah. But she did bring her coffee. And she says, although I think you're making a mistake that you won't sleep a wink. And she's like, that's the point. I'm not going to sleep tonight. I can't harm anybody else. Which is very interesting because I'm not leaving this house tonight, she says. And Martha's like, look, rest will do more than anything, you know, for you. It'd be good. And as Martha leaves, this is where Phyllis locks the door behind her. Right. Which is a very interesting point. So she goes over there, she locks the door, and she starts drinking, and she's not going to go to sleep. She's said this several times. I'm not going to sleep. I have coffee. I have lights. I have everything I need. But guess what? The dogs are barking once again, which is very... Do those dogs just bark all the time? Pretty much. Because, I mean, all the main players that you've seen are in the house at the moment. Besides Barry, but I don't think he's a she-wolf. So she stuffs the cotton in her ears, and the next thing you see... Dun, dun, dun. Here he comes. The Latham... They go back to, like, I don't know what you call it. The park, public park. Yeah, and they have, like, the whole entire Scotland Yard here. So Inspector Pierce, they said they want the park patrolled in pairs. They said anybody that is out here better have good reason to be out here, and if not, arrest them. Mm-hmm. Because we've had these murders like 2 or 3 nights in a row. We're not dealing with this much longer. So they're always like, yeah, there's some stray dogs walking around the park, But everybody's keen on catching whoever's doing these murders. So this guy, man, I like Latham. I think he's pretty cool because he kind of reminds me of myself, kind of fat, just pretty good guy, I would say. So once again, here we see this
figure walking through
with a white robe, and the dogs are barking.
She's got the hood up over her head,
right? Which that should have gave you a clue right there that the dogs are barking at this one. And the dogs turn around, and walk away, and then they go jumping over the fence. So we got to remember that the only person the dogs have barked at so far has been Phyllis. They were barking at this person, but then they stopped and jumped and followed. So, Latham's out there walking around talking to the constables. Hey, have you seen anything? Any howlings? Any dogs? And he's like, no, He's like, I have a theory that once the park is cleared of dogs, the attacks are going to stop. This might be the dumbest universal... We'll get there. But, that's just so stupid. You try to do a Universal monster because I'm a big Universal monster movie guy, and this is just one that just drives me bonkers, everything about it. So Latham's walking around, and here you see a figure, the lady figure in the woods, and she starts running, and Latham thought he's seen somebody, and he's trying to catch up to him, and I think this is where he stumbles upon. Is it the guy sitting at the park bench, or does he run into Barry here? It's one of the two.
Runs into Barry, I believe. So
she was right behind him the entire time. Looked and turns the other way. You still can't. You starting to see a little bit more facial features, but you can't tell who it is yet. But the set here is pretty good with the fog rolling in, and with her walking through the fog right behind him. You think she's about to attack him, and this is where. She's right there. I mean, literally right behind him. And so this whole part of the movie, I thought that she does attack him. I didn't think she attacked him.
She don't kill him.
But I didn't think she attacked him here. But maybe I was wrong. So she takes off and... well, I don't understand why they didn't attack him. So he's got his throat slashed. And he's yelling for the constables, and he falls out, and it's like, she's done me in, and he's like, he's like, yeah, the wolf woman. So he's first-hand sighting that the wolf woman has attacked once again, and they're like, man, we got to get this guy to the hospital, and there's like, too late, he's dead. So my favorite just died in the park, surrounded by constables on patrol 2 by 2, which brings me to my other question: is why is Latham out there alone? They were supposed to be 2 by 2.
2 by 2.
Nah.
Now next morning,
once again, good old Aunt Martha just walks in the door. Remember the last time the door was locked last night. And she comes in. She turns off all the lanterns that poor old Phyllis has had in the room. And Phyllis knocked out cold on the bed once again.
Yeah, she opens up the blinds and brings the daylight in.
Oh, and automatically, sunshine. And she jumps up. She's like, how did you get in here? The door was locked. She's like, no, I just walked right in. And she's like, it wasn't locked, Phyllis. So this sets Phyllis off on a tangent because she looks down, and once again, we have... What is that? Like a garden?
A little garden tool that looks like a claw.
Right, like you could claw somebody's...
Yeah.
Which, another clue right there. Why are you going to have one of those in your room? If it's a real she-wolf, she'll have her own claws. And look,
Her slippers are dirty again.
Once again. And so there's a knock on the door. And lo and behold, who is it? I believe this is Carol, isn't it? Yep. So Carol's coming in the door, and she's already, for being so early in the morning, she's already got her equestrian gear on, getting ready to go horseback riding with Barry, I guess. And look, she suggested that I go riding with Barry. You know what happened last time Phyllis went riding with Barry? They were planning a wedding. So does this mean that... And she's like, look, she's like, you should come with us. And I was like, oh, I just couldn't. So, Phyllis, get over yourself. Get up. And like, you know, there's not going to be much consolation for Barry. You know, was there anything you would like me to tell him, any messages? And she's like, no message. So, this is where she said, have you heard the news? What news? There's a Scotland Yard man was murdered in the park last night by a mad woman who's made a noise like an animal. So the morning paper is full of it. And once again, look at Phyllis. She's like, I murdered him. And she's like, hush, child, you did no such thing. Which might be the only truth that Martha's ever told in this whole movie. She's like, I'm going to go to the doctor. She's like, you won't do anything about it. She's like, if you told the doctor, they're going to think you're crazy. They're going to lock you up and commit you to an asylum. And you don't want that, do you? And she's like, no. And so here goes Barry and what's her name? Carol. And like, oh look, that must be the place where the Scotland Yard guy was murdered. And I don't know. This, take it over. I can't do much more of this. This is.
Well, they talk about this. They're riding on the horses and all that. They're going to the scene of the crime, and then they ride off into the sunset. Now Mary comes back to the house.
Yeah, because she
tells him, be a man. Don't let her tell you, you can't see her. So he goes in there, and Martha comes, and she tells him, won't you come in? So he comes in, and I believe what happens here is he wants to see Phyllis again.
Let's see. She thinks she's here to see Carol. She's like, Carol's in the garden. He's like, I'm not here to see Carol.
Yeah.
Well, she won't see you. He's like...
He said, well, anyhow, he decides he's going to go on up there anyhow. She tries to stop him. He asks him, well, why can't I up there? And he said, she's going to be my wife in another week or a few days at this point. So he goes on up the stairs, and he takes her out for her buggy ride. She finally talks her into going out. And so they're sitting in the buggy riding along.
And he tells her, hey, this is better than being in a bed.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, she kind of comes around a little bit.
Yeah, she starts loosening up a little bit more toward Barry. And they're talking about, getting ready about their wedding, that she seems to be doing better since she got out and got some fresh air and things like that. He said it does you good just to get away from the house. And she does seem to do a little bit better. And she said that Aunt Martha was just working on her behalf, protecting her because she hasn't been feeling well. And so he tells him, he said, well, I want you to tell me what it is. If it's anything so serious that you can't tell me, we're going to be married after all. And so she's going to let us see, we can't be married, Barry, ever. And because... I can't tell you why. Yeah, I can't tell you why. It's just that it wouldn't be good. And he says, I think I understand. And he's going to go in here and says, it's about this Allenby curse thing. And she said, well, how do you know? And he said, well, Carol mentioned it, that you've been frightened. And I just added up the facts of all this here. And that's why you've been upset about this curse. He said, you got to talk about this. You can't let yourself go to pieces like this. Your whole family's going to be crushed by this theory of werewolves and things. And he said that her parents were killed supposedly by these werewolves, I believe. And she has these dreams when she lived as she was a child, and she took part in some pagan rituals, and turned and was even hunted with the wolves. And those dreams, he tells her, them dreams are easily explained. When you were a child, certainly you don't believe in werewolves, do you? And she telling him, well, many people did. Latham did, but he's dead.
Yeah, there's like the Herpini tribes that worship the werewolves.
Yeah.
And even in Scotland, on nights when the dogs howl, the people hang out, light lanterns, ward off evil spirits, which we see she's already done that too.
But she thinks he's poking fun at her right now, and it's getting her upset again.
And he goes on to talk about some more philosophers like Plato and stuff. But then he does quote, I do believe it's Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. And he goes on, thou almost marks me waver in my faith to hold opinion with Pythagoras, that souls of animals infuse themselves into the trunks of men, thy courage spirit, governed by a wolf who hanged for human slaughter. Even from the gallows did his fell soul fleet, and whilst thou layest in thy unhallowed, I couldn't read that, infused itself in thee, for thy desires are wolfish, bloody, starved, and ravenous. Barry, stop! She just breaks down and has a middle
crying.
And by this point, if I'm Barry, I'm just slapping her. No, I'm kidding. I'm just,
he goes and runs off with Carol.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can go have another horse race with Carol. But I got to hand it to Barry. He's just a very consolable person. He put up with way more than I would have. So here we are again, once again. This is where they're saying about being, if they're in the park,
they're passing out guns in this and here.
But they didn't. And yeah, and then he's like, look, and if they don't stop when you say stop, you give them one, then you're going to shoot. Boy, that wouldn't go over today in these lands. But so everybody go to your post. So he's like, okay. So the inspector's mad. He's lost Latham, which was the coolest guy in this movie. So here we go. Once again, here we see
the figure coming out.
Another figure in a robe once again. They always come through the same little garden. They go out the gate. They shut the gate. And this time, though, Barry
is watching.
And he starts tracking the figure. But did you notice this time no dogs jumped over the gate either? So that's a very interesting point there again, too. So right now, you don't know if this is the same person, a different person, a whole new person, the she-wolf. So this figure's walking through the foggy park once again, and Barry, of course, is hot on her trail. But I think he ends up losing sight of her, doesn't he? Yeah, he goes the other way because she cut through like the trees or whatever. And once again, she's just wandering around, and I don't know, it's almost like the way she's walking is kind of weird. It's not like, I guess, it's different than before. And he sees the figure, and Barry runs through the bushes, and he's bound and determined to catch this thing because it's making his life miserable, and he can't get along with Phyllis until he knows the truth of what's happening. So he's lost sight of him once again, even though he just had him in his sights. And then you got inspectors, of course, walking, and they run into Barry, and they say, hey, what are you doing here? Said, look, I'm doing a little private investigating. And they're like, planning to capture the she-wolf, I presume, single-handedly. And he's like, yeah, something like that. So he's like, well, can you give me your name? He's like, yeah, my name is Barry Landfield, I think. His occupation, he's like, I'm a barista in partnership with my father. They're like, Sydney Landfield? Well, yeah. They're like, you got any credentials to prove it? And he's like, certainly. So this guy must be famous, you know what I mean? So, and then we see this one guy that's just sitting on a park bench, smoking a cigarette, and or a pipe, sorry. And you see, I believe it's coming up behind him, this figure, which once again you never see the face. And
will he be killed by the she-wolf?
Right.
She's sneaking up on him.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's tiptoeing. She's looking. He's still trying to light his pipe. That's the longest pipe light I've ever seen. And then you hear some growling and some snarling, and the man yelling, help, help. Help me, someone help me. And I don't believe she kills this one. And then this is so stupid. She's right there behind him.
Right behind him.
All 7 of these officers did not see him. And he looks she howled and they grabbed me by my throat, and he's like, there. And he points and she's running. Now she's running, and they're all like after her, so they all take off after her. And he's like, did you go look at the face? And of course not. It was too busy protecting his own throat to see who the face of this.
Now, lo and behold, walks out of the woods with the face revealed is Carol.
And she's dressed almost exactly the same as the guy, the person that attacked, who comes out, you find out is Dwight, which is the lowlife that Carol sneaks out and meets all the time. And so now...
But as stupid as they are, she could have run around and transformed back to Carol and come back.
This is true.
For all they know.
So they're like, hey, let's go to headquarters and we can get acquainted with the inspector. And he's like, we got a few questions. So they're taking Barry Dwight and Carol back to the headquarters. And here we go once again. The she-wolf is in a new attack. So once again, the newspapers are reporting that the attack once again, and Carol was reading in the newspaper, and lo and behold, the knock on the door, and it is Barry. So, good evening. Can I come in? He's like, I'll run upstairs and see if Phyllis is. So he's like, look, I want to ask you some questions first. I'm not here to see Phyllis. So they go to the library in the house and want to talk. And this is so cringeworthy. So he's like, look, I need you to think about something, And basically she's like, I'm here for a cross-examination. And he's like, did you know that I saw you leave last night and I followed you to park? She's like, I do that every time and I go meet Dwight. And she's like, yeah. He's like, that's how I happen to discover that you're the she-wolf. And she says, Barry, you got to be joking. And he's like, no, I'm very quite serious. And she's like, Barry, you can't possibly be serious. He's like, but I am. She's like, you may not recall everything you did. And she said, insane people seldom do when under distress. She's like, I'm perfectly sane, and I was under no stress. I've only one reason. I went to go meet Dwight Severin. And she's like, I've been meeting him on an average of 3 nights a week. And this is where the old mother walks in and overhears them saying, and she's like, can I ask you a question? She's like, go ahead. And he's like, how did you happen to see me when I left the house last night? He's like, I was worried about Phyllis. So basically I was snooping. I didn't want your house all night long. So something she said when they were writing that, she said that she might be the wolf. And he said, I suspected it could be Phyllis until I saw you still out of the house. He's like, now I really don't know what to think anymore. So he had his suspicions that it could have been Phyllis. Then he thought it was Carol. And basically, I think Martha asked if he'd like a drink. She's like, I'll go make it now. He's like, nah. He's like, I'm leaving. He's like, he said, Phyllis has been terribly upset. I don't know what it is. And I said, well, maybe she'll feel better in the morning. I'll stop by and see her then. And this is so terrible. So basically Martha's like, look, you've been sneaking around seeing this idiot I told you 3 times a week, and she's like, that's right, I'm going to continue seeing him and you're not going to stop me, basically. And it's like, don't lecture me why I should marry Barry when him and Phyllis are going to be very happily married. If it will stop making you having a constant topic of conversation. She said, Barry will never marry Phyllis. She's insane. So here we see old Phyllis, who's really diving into the role in bed. She's reading about lycanthropy. She's reading about werewolves in her bed. So she's taking this poor thing to heart. She really thinks that she is the She-Wolf of London. So,
and the dogs are barking again.
Again, they're always barking. So she's just, I don't know.
Well, here we're coming to the point that she's going to kill her, ain't it? She makes her...
Well, who? Whoa. Who's doing what? She has that package. I forgot what's in that package. Do you remember? Is it something for Barry? She takes it over to Carol, but I don't remember what it is. So anyway, she's finally said, Carol, can I talk to you? You know, I'd like to talk to you. So finally she's breaking down and wants to talk to Carol. So I still don't know if I ever said what was in that package she took.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
I don't think so.
So since you're gonna be so bold as to sneak out and meet your starving artist. She's like, no, I'm going to the police. She said, Phyllis just told me the whole story. So Phyllis has broke down and told her about everything where she thinks she's the werewolf. And Martha's like, look, you know, I was telling you the truth. And there's good old Hannah who thinks, listening once again, that's why she said, I'm going to the police. And she's like, if we go to the police, Phyllis will be in an asylum. We'll lose everything we have. She's like, I'm calling them at her request, Mother, not mine. So she's going to go call. They call, but it's actually getting and walking out and going to get the police, which I don't know if they did have phones back then. I would have sent Hannah. I would have trusted Hannah to go do it. And once again, here goes Carol leaving, and there's good old Barry following once again. So, and then you got somebody
Trailing Barry.
The inspector's no, not Barry yet. He sees the lady walking. Then he sees Barry, and then he's going to follow Barry. So now we have this big old trail of people that are following. So basically, she's going to go try to find the person that's trailing her to behind. So here we come to the epic, probably last 5 minutes of the movie. Martha is carrying up none other than a glass of warm milk, and Hannah, good old trusty handmaid Hannah, she sees her going up the stairs, and she started to put two together. She knows what's happening now, even though we don't. So the door opens. Here comes old Martha, and she's like, you know, I hear I made you something to drink. You know, how you feeling, pretty much. And she's like, I don't think I want any, Aunt Martha. And she's like, you must drink it. It'll quiet your nerves. You'll want to be completely at ease when you tell your story to the police. So, and she's like, you know about Carol calling the police? And she's like, certainly, my dear. And I'm glad you decided to bring everything out into the open. You know, whatever this thing is, it's terrible. And that it's been quite a strain on me, too. I guess I would say so. So she's like, here, drink up, Phyllis. The police will ask you hundreds of questions. So here goes old Phyllis drinking the milk. And she doesn't finish it yet. She puts it down and she says, do you think they're going to come take me away tonight to the lunatic asylum? And she's like, no, probably not. And she's like, you may not even have to go to an asylum. You know, maybe we can arrange to have you taken care of at a private institution until you're cured of whatever. And she's like, drink more milk, Phil. Drink. So, of course, Phyllis obliges and she drinks more. And Hannah might be the best person in this film. It goes to the door.
Eavesdropping through the door.
And she's like, do you think I can be cured? And she's like, of course you can. She's like, they can do wonders through medicine today. You know, the doctors can do things with the human mind. And she's like, go ahead, dear, finish your drink.
Get all
and I'm like, man, just leave me alone. And so she finally finishes off the glass, and she's blurred vision starts right away.
She's getting lost in space here.
That does kind of look like it looks like. And she asked her, I think, how you're feeling. And she's like, well, you know, and they do some really good cinematography here where her vision's blurry and you're seeing it, and like looks like a water running brook to me in the background. And she's like, I feel very sleepy, and you know, as if I've been drugged. Well, you're right. Ding 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 ding. I drugged you. So you wouldn't hear the dogs. And she's like, no, Phyllis, I'm going to kill you. And Hannah, the good old Hannah, she's like, you're going to kill me? And she's like, yes. Which she's obviously having a conversation after she's just been drugged. So I don't know how this is going to work. So she's like, you know, if the police came while you were still alive, they would investigate the strange stories you would tell them, and they would call in a doctor, and they would find that you're perfectly normal. You're sane. So I'm going to have to kill you, basically. And she's like,
but why?
Why? She's like, because I planned all this to get you out of the way. And when you know that she still believed, when she discovered that she still believed in the Albies curse, it's the perfectly good explanation is to drive you insane. So guess what? When you out of the way, basically me and Carol will become the sole owners of this place, and they can stay in the house that they love forever, that she's managed over so many of the years. And then for Carol, it would mean she could also carry him in, not beneath her station, basically another knock on Dwight, and, maybe a man like Barry Landfill. So she said, I began by killing the little boy in the park and led you believe that you did it. Which makes me ask a question real quick. So she said that she killed the little boy in the yard first. There was a death before that,
Right.
right?
Right.
Which wasn't her.
Or was it?
But she just said, I killed
Look, you're at the last 5 minutes of the movie, and they couldn't go back to all of the details.
And then she says, I killed that man from Scotland Yard because he was getting too close to the truth. So there's that one. And she's like, my plan, it would have succeeded, Phyllis. And she produces this knife from under her robe, I guess. It looks like probably about 12 inches, 8 inches. So when the police come, I shall tell them of your strange actions lately, and Barry and Carol will bear me out, and they will call it suicide, my dear. So, though, because they're afraid you were going to be, insane. You were going to be insane, so you said, take your own life. So Hannah opens the door, and then accidentally, and you hear, Hannah! And she's like, I heard you. I heard everything. I know what you've been doing all along. And she's like, I wonder what that drug disappeared that I've been hiding in my cupboard. So she's been drugging it with her drugs. Does that make her an accomplice murderer? So Hannah takes off running. And this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in the entire world. Okay, can I just say, this is probably the worst ending of any movie I have ever seen. And I've seen a lot of movies. It makes no sense. So Hannah's running down the stairs. Martha's running behind her down the stairs.
She trips.
And somehow she trips and impels herself with this knife as she falls down the stairs.
Well, she's rolling down the steps.
This is ridiculous. Hannah gets to the door. She goes to try to open the door. She looks back, and there's Martha on the floor as she tries to look up with the knife firmly planted in her gut. And she does falls down. And as she goes to open the door, here comes the inspector.
The cavalry's here.
Yeah, here they all came. And this is where Carol's like, Mother. She's like, she's a murderer. She is the she-wolf herself. So obviously Hannah is going to go through everything and tell him everything. And he's like, Phyllis, are you all right? Barry runs upstairs to check on her. And she's like, it's Barry, darling. Barry. And she's still drugged. She's going to kill me. And he's like, she's no, dear, she's not killing anybody else ever again, pretty much. So Phyllis looks at him, kind of gives a smile, even though she's half drugged. And yes, I hate to say it, but the end.
The end.
One of the worst endings in a Universal monster. Even though a lot of them end abruptly, at least it's climatic. Not, listen, I tripped downstairs and stabbed myself. So before we get to our reviews, let me go ahead and give a little bit of trivia. There's not a lot. So this was filming complete on Christmas Eve in 1945. The film was shot between December 8th to 21st, 1945, but retakes required several members of the cast, including June Lockhart and Don Porter, to work through Christmas Eve. This was released on May 17, 1946, as part of a double bill with The Cat Creeps. Universal Pictures, unlike most major studios, lacked a proprietary theater chain and often sold its B-picture horror mystery pictures as double bills, making weak pictures more attractive and economical for independent theaters to advertise. So when you were young, did you ever go see any double features at the theater like that?
When I was young, all the movies we went to were double features.
Give us a couple of double features that you saw together. Do you remember?
I can't tell you the name of the movies right now, but I know one thing. They every once in a while they'd have a double feature Elvis Presley show, and they'd be lined up around the corner to get into the theaters.
This was largely shot on Universal's old Hacienda set, used on many of the Studio B westerns. Lloyd Corrigan replaced Forrester Harvey, who died prior to any of his scenes were shot. This was also Martin Koslek's final role at Universal. This is part of the original Shock Theater package of 52 Universal titles released to television in 1957, following a year later with Son of Shock, which added 20 more. And if you look closely, keen observers might spot former Laurel and Hardy foil James Finlayson. He has a bit part as a London Bobby in this movie. Joan Wells was cast in the role of June Lockhart's character.
Body or Bobby?
Oh, good grief. Joan Wells was cast in the role of June Lockhart's character as a child because of her close resemblance to Lockhart, especially the shape of her nose so closely resembling Lockhart's. And there's a spoiler. There is no werewolf in this movie. So, Dad, I'll let you go first. Give me your, if you have any questions, thoughts, and what you're going to rate it out of 10. Let's hear it.
Well, again, it's the whole thing is, it ain't, there's no, like he said, there's no werewolf. She-Wolf of London, and if you want to go see a werewolf movie, you would think there's more of a werewolf in it. Now, going back to your original about should this be classified as a Universal monster movie, of course, Universal done that. Again, this movie here is not on the same tier of the original Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy, Dracula, things like that. It's probably 2 tiers down of, because there's more Universal monster movies that might be on a second tier, not this third tier like this.
This is pretty much the bottom of the barrel so far that we've covered.
Again, it's not a monster movie. It's more of a whodunit movie. Wouldn't you say?
But, well, technically, would you consider Martha in this movie a monster?
She's a monster, but not a werewolf.
Right.
But see,
but then she would be considered a Universal monster.
When you go to see any of these Universal monsters, and a lot of them, well, it don't have to be Universal. Go back to the old time. A lot of time it'd be a monster movie, and you wouldn't see the monster till the last 10 minutes of the show. And so you're sitting here, if you're younger and went to see this here, you're wanting to see a werewolf, and it never happens. What a disappointment.
Mm-hmm. Demand your money back?
But I think that if you was to watch this again, maybe you'll appreciate it more. Kidding. It's not a very good movie. It don't deserve to even be in a Universal collection, especially with the classic Universal monsters. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 4. And that's going high. What do you think?
Well, I think Universal knew what they were doing when they put this movie out there and titled it She-Wolf of London. They were playing off of the Werewolf of London and the success it had on that. And the only reason they did that and they titled it She-Wolf of London is because they wanted to make more money. Let's be honest.
Well, let's go back here with Universal. You come out with the classic Invisible Man. If you follow on down there, you'll find out there's a invisible woman, an invisible boy, an invisible dog.
We'll get to those, but...
Oh, will we?
I don't know, after this one, maybe not, but...
Is it really an invisible dog?
I don't know.
Was there an invisible man?
I don't know, I couldn't see him. But what I'm saying is, the Invisible Man is head and shoulders above this movie.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Even though you didn't see him on screen hardly. But back to this movie. There's just... I think if they would have taken the time to explain the Allenby curse more than just the brief glimpses you get at the beginning and the little bit, the Merchant of Venice of Shakespeare that Barry recites, it might have made more sense. I was trying to find the connection to Werewolf of London to see if the Allenby curse was connected. I remember when we covered that, it was all about that moonflower. And I don't remember the Allenby curse being in that. So if I can find the Allenby curse and where this ties into that,
Well, this don't even fall in the same category as
Werewolf of London.
Werewolf of London. at all.
Well, here's something else that we didn't talk about. You know, you wanted this to be the She-Wolf of London. No full moon that I saw. No moonflower. You brought up the point that is, hey, is it because she's giving her this stuff to drink to turn her into the werewolf? What was it? The milk of the moonflower? I don't know. But yeah,
it don't explain nothing. The curse.
I guess the main problem I have with this is if you wouldn't have called it a Universal monster movie, and if you wouldn't have called it the She-Wolf of London, maybe like something totally different, like the Killer of London or something.
They could just call it the Allenby curse.
Right, something like that.
Just leave that and don't even mention about the werewolf.
Right. Well,
per se, but
right. So I think I would have rated it higher. Now, I did like the fog in the park. I thought that was really cool. I like that. I like how you never really saw the lady's face. You just seen, and you didn't know which one it was. So all those ones that you saw, was it the lady going out to kill somebody, or was it the girl sneaking out to go see Dwight? You still don't know. The only thing I can say to that is the last time when she snuck out to go see Dwight, the dogs didn't jump the fence. And when I'm assuming when Martha went to murder him that the dogs jumped the fence, because if you remember at the very beginning when you see the dogs, she's like, oh, I'll go put them in the garden, and they just don't bark at her, they just follow her, and she goes puts them away. So I'm assuming that that's what you get from the cinematography, that when the dogs were jumping the fence or jumping back over the fence, that was her out there killing people, and when they weren't, it was Carol sneaking off to go see. June Lockhart did a fine job. But I think the problem with this movie is there was not enough connecting dots for me to make it enjoyable. You know, was it a good movie? No. Was it a terrible movie? I wouldn't say that either. Well, I wouldn't say that.
Was it a terrible ending?
Probably one of the worst I've ever seen. I mean, you trip running down the stairs, but Hannah ran down the stairs just fine. So, whatever. I think for me, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10, and that's just for the fog, pretty much the fog, and the inspector guy Latham. I think he did a fantastic job because he brought a little bit of comedic element to it, even though he was serious about his job, and he's the one that actually believed in the she-wolves. And another thing, what? They never explained the howling or the growling when she was killing people, or especially when Dwight said, hey, there was growling and there was howling. And, you know, I'm assuming that the slashes they were getting across their face was that rake that they showed.
Yeah.
And so my other question is,
she may have just done growling noises to
well, here's my other thing. Or was it the dogs? Because I wrote this down earlier, that I think it was the small boy, when they said that the small boy was killed, that he was ripped into pieces. And in my thinking, I'm thinking, well, if the dog got a hold of him, they probably pulled him apart and left him in pieces. I don't think she was going to do that. That makes sense to me. Because you get in, you get out. You know, you won't have a lot of evidence on you, except maybe the initial slash with the knife or whatever, or the thing. And then my other question is, number one, how did she get the wetness of the robe on June Lockhart, or put the blood on her hands? The muddy shoes, she took them outside and stomped around in them. Fine, whatever.
Well, she drugs her, and she probably didn't even know that she got them things. Go get the mud on the shoes, the dew on her robe.
Do you think she took her outside?
No, she could have just took the robe and done it.
And dressed her back up? Or do you think she just dumped water on her?
Well, that could be too.
But I just think that the blood on the hands was an interesting point, because that'd be hard to do. And then when she locks herself in the room, how does she get back in the room unless she has a skeleton key? That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure
an old
she has
house.
another
She's
key.
been in that house forever. She probably knows that there's secret passages, how to get in and out of there or whatever. So for me, this is probably the worst Universal Monster movie that we've covered to date. Just not a big fan. And I think it's a shame that you throw this in with the great Wolfman Legacy Collection just to say you're part of the Wolfman Legacy. It just doesn't seem right.
I'm going to give you one credit to the Universal movie here, even in this, is that the quality of the film was good. It was a crisp picture. Because you can watch some other, not Universal movies, just some old movies, monster movies, and they're all grainy, and sometimes it's hard to see because of that. They still kept that crispness in their film. Again, they did do a great job on the special effects with the fog in the and
never showing her face.
Right. So that's the highlight of the show.
Right.
Because it would have been a creepy setting of with that there.
Right. So stay tuned because the next time we are in the dungeon, the Dark Tomb of Arctos, we will be talking about the Ghost of Frankenstein, which is heads and shoulders above this movie, if you will.
Well, he's taller.
Right. So, with that being said, I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap.
And cut.